Did you turn them on?
Check 1, 2, check. Test.
Did the light come on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Check.
That one's on.
Test 1, 2, 3.
For some reason that was not.
Test.
You are silly Jackson.
Something not on.
Golden slippers.
We're just doing the voice for line singing.
Oh,
The instruments.
It had changed channel. Go ahead and get it in.
Test 1, 2, test. Testing 1, 2, test. Is it on? Got it, okay, good.
I'm kind of sorry, like Stravinsky too, you know? Though your voice got with some Stravinsky.
no expectations or. Framework for comparison. That's about to play a Halloween show.
Early enough, okay? I'll be back with yours.
Brandon got green chocolate on Get down to the school, just put
Jarring just on the sound of
But I love it.
Did you see what I posted on the second day of my home lessons? 4.5 hours. 4.5 hours of work. That was the next thing to put a band.
Good. Yeah, we're glad to have you.
I was thinking we just start tripping into Rick, should we wait for Will or go ahead and get started? So, okay, to get started?
Sure.
Two each. Summer Sounds, I guess, is what the title is now, sponsored by the Williams Family Seymour Library. Very happy to be here tonight, and glad to have you all out to come listen to some music tonight. I guess we'll call our name of our band Happy Creek. That's the name that Lon and I have been going by. We've been playing up in Gatlinburg a little bit with the Tunes and Tales program. So I guess is that okay?
That's fine.
Well, of course, yeah. This is Lon Spurgeon playing fiddle and vocals and guitar. And this is Michael Moody. That's your last name. Okay. Did I say it right? It's not Moody. No. on cello, kind of doing bass cello for us tonight. And my name's John Richardson playing mandolin. I'm a one-trick pony. This is it for me tonight. But those first ones were a couple of our favorite fiddle tunes. Bonaparte Crossing the Rhine was the first one, and the second one was Sarah Armstrong. It used to be called Sarah Armstrong Tune, and I think it's just been shortened to Sarah Armstrong. She was a Pennsylvania fiddler, way back, I guess late 1800s or sometime, who was part of a family that migrated from Ulster, who was Scots Irish ancestry, and so all of her family had these. This is my wife. Oops. But anyway, her family had all these old Scottish and Irish tunes that she learned from her uncles, and then there was a tune collector from the University of Pennsylvania that came and listened to her and preserved all these tunes, and so she was kind of a conduit into the modern era for these old ancient tunes that have been played for centuries. And kind of interesting because most of these old fiddlers, they're all men. But this was a woman that was very important for that kind of Western Pennsylvania kind of fiddle. Okay, all right. Cumberland Gap. Next, this is y'all, I guess, are familiar with Cumberland Gap. Y'all know where that is, right? It was just a real important place in American history. It had been used for thousands of years, I suppose, first by bison and then for thousands of years by Native Americans. A gap in the mountains in the Appalachian chain leading up to the kind of the fertile fields of Kentucky, and it was part of Daniel Boone's Wilderness Road went through that track through Cumberland Gap. So, after the Revolutionary War and the Western expansion that happened after that, that was a very important place for people to get through and to get up into settlements up in Kentucky. And so, an important place like that certainly has going to have a song written about it, and this is it. It's both an instrumental and then Lon sings some of the lyrics, but kind of, I guess, written from the perspective of people that we're traveling through.
Yeah, there's little snatches of lyrics that's been, that brought down to us through time, and they definitely fit in, just the ones I picked out, I think, kind of describe the experience of people going through there. You got Civil War soldiers, you've got families raised there nearby, explorers, it's kind of these little snippets fit in with that. And we're going to try to do something really dangerous tonight with you too. I'm going to try to sing and play the fiddle at the same time. So I'm kind of new to that, and I'm afraid that I might stick the bow in my ear accidentally. So if I do that, please call an ambulance. Hopefully it'll go over all right. So without further ado, Cumberland Gap.
It really, he makes it look easy, but it's, I mean, I can barely swallow and play at the same time. Yeah, you see a little drool, that's the problem. I don't know, you wanna try ginseng
We'll start with something,
Easier.
let's start with, yeah, something easier. This land is yours.
Okay, good, yeah.
Woody Guthrie song.
or? What do you got for something?
This one, I think y'all know. I don't think we need much explanation on it.
No,
but,
no.
Woody Guthrie wrote this, and just become kind of an anthem, especially with folk musicians.
And just listen to the lyrics and the words, and it's just poetry, it's just beautiful lyrics.
As I was walking down River Highway, I saw a lovely land in the skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. Well, I roam and ramble and follow my footsteps to the sparkling sands of her diamond deserts. And all around me, a voice will sound me. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to New York Island, from Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. When the sun comes shining, as I am strolling, and the wheat fields waving, and the dust clouds rolling, a voice is chanting, and fog is lifting. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me. wife's phone went off, my wife coming late. What does that tell you?
Well, I've been looking forward to doing this show. I've done this with different people for years, and it's something I always enjoy and look forward to. But I had a dream about it the night before last. It was horrible.
Glad you didn't tell us.
No, well, you were late.
Oh, okay. No,
Michael got in a car crash.
Oh,
He hurt his arm and he couldn't play.
I don't get another injury.
I took my manual out and I didn't have any picks to play with. And my tuner didn't work. And when I tried to tune without it, I broke a string.
Oh, no.
So we started playing a half hour late, and by then everybody had left.
Right.
You do better than that.
Yeah.
This has got to be better. But I have a bad tendency to kind of, I guess my subconscious stews up the worst possible scenario for any situation. And so I guess I was doing that in my sleep. I guess I don't want to be disappointed, so.
Right.
Things turn out better.
Well, yeah, with that introduction, let's do directly on 97.
Now, let me tell you about this a little bit. This is a song that recounts a famous train disaster in 1903 up in Virginia. It was Train 97, was a mail train with a Southern Railroad that came south from D.C. Through Virginia, making mail stops, and it had a reputation for never being late. Its nickname was the Fast Mail, old 97, and but for some reason it left Washington late. Something happened, and by the time it got to Monroe, Virginia, it was a half an hour, or it was a full hour behind time. And at Monroe, Virginia, they changed crews, and the new engineer was a man named Steve Brody, and they told him his instructions were to put her into Spencer on time, and Spencer was 166 miles down the road, so he had to make up an hour in that amount of time. It kind of put pressure, but he never made it to Spencer. He was coming down a grade that goes into a curve right before the Stillhouse railroad trestle, 45-foot high railroad trestle that goes over Stillhouse Branch near Danville, Virginia, and was going too fast, didn't make that curve, careened off of the top of the railroad trestle 45 feet down into the ravine. He was killed, the conductor was killed, the fireman was killed, brakeman. There was 11 people killed in that wreck and 7 injured. And like I say, it was train disasters were big news back then. It was a big deal. And interestingly, they saved they salvaged the locomotive. The locomotive was just a year old, and so we can't leave that down there. And so they got it and refurbished it, and it ran for another 35 years up to close to 1940, I think. Wow. But even though I've just told you the whole story, we're going to sing it.
Well, they gave him disorders in Monroe, Virginia. Said, Steve, you're way behind time. This is not 30, it's 97. Of her in extensive on time. Well, Steve turned around and said to his big greasy fireman, they showed on the road. And when we reach that wide open mountain, oh, watch your 97 road. with some mighty rough road from Lynchburg to Danville, for a mile on the 3-mile trail. It was on that trail that he lost his airlips, you see, water jumping. Well, he was coming down that trail with 90 miles an hour when the whistle broke into a stream. He was sounding for red, his hand on the throttle, scuttled into death by the stream. Well, all you ladies, you better take one from this time on and run. Nasty Carswell, you true love your husband, he may leave you and never return. Cause he was coming down that trail, making 9 miles an hour, when his whistle broke into a stream. He was mounting for rest, with his friend on the throttle, scuttled into death by the stream. Well, John. Got a couple of fiddle tunes at this point, and I'll let John explain the meaning of this next time.
Well, you know, the second one is called Cold Frosty Morn, and it commemorates the Battle of Culloden, whenever that was, 1500s or sometime in Scotland, where the British kind of routed the Scottish, the Jacobite rising, where they're trying to restore King James to the throne, and it ended up in a lot of subjugation of the Scottish people by the British for many, many years. Created a lot of ill feeling and probably tensions that exist today still. And the first one we're going to do is called Home with the Girls in the Morning, and I'm leave that up to your imagination. Interpret that however you want. We have not figured it out.
We haven't either.
I don't know, maybe if you try to go home with the girls in the morning, it could be a cold, frosty morning.
That's right.
Alrighty. Congratulations, Will. You made it on the right day. Will's a good friend of mine, and he asked me to get backstage passes, and I could arrange getting backstage passes for the show tonight. And I think, Will, the backstage is the men's room. So I'll meet you back there after, we'll hang out. Let's see, another 15. Johnny. Yeah, this one doesn't need a lot of explanation either. Johnny, don't get drunk. That seems pretty clear as to what the message is. Alrighty, we'll let Lon introduce this next tune, this next song. It's an original song that he wrote. So let you tell us about this one, Lon.
This is written about a true life character that he lived back before the mountains became the park. He was born up in Smoky Mountains and grew up there and actually settled in a cabin up there with his wife and children. And then when the mountains were turned into the park, of course he had to move out. But he settled there in the Gatlinburg area, in kind of Pigeon Forge area, and he began to make his living from the tourists that would come up to the Smoky Mountains. He, of course, having lived in the mountains, he knew a lot about where everything was at, the names of the different trails and features up there. There was a lot about the wildlife, and so he was just a natural guide. So he guided a whole lot of people up in the mountains. In addition to that, too, he kind of in his home place there, kind of set up a store and a place for tourists to come through, and they would sell crafts and would entertain, play music. And through all that, he became kind of a national celebrity that people from all over the country knew him because of that. And he was an individual who was, though he was uneducated from a standpoint of going to school, he was very smart and actually taught himself how to read and write. And he ended up writing a couple of books. One was called Roman and the other was called Resting, about his life in the Smoky Mountains. And he also carried on a lot of correspondence with folks. So anyway, his name is Wiley Oakley, if you haven't heard of him. He's just a really interesting individual. And a few years ago, I read his book, Roman and Rested. They put the two of them together. And I was just fascinated by the tales of his life and his insights. And so I wrote this song based upon his life, trying to pick up some of the key points and events that took place there. So one of the real interesting stories that's in the first line is that I think he was only maybe 4 years old when his mom died. And, he was wanting to know where his mom was. And, kinfolk told him and said, well, Wiley, she's gone up above, she's gone to heaven. And so he took that very literally. And so he took off at the age of 4 and started climbing up in the mountains to go look for his mom. And so that's one of the stories he tells there, but very, very interesting character. So we'll do a little bit of this for you here. Wiley Oakley. Right, okay. My name is Wiley Oakley, and I live in these hills. I love these smoky mountains, I know I always will. When I was just a little boy, my mother passed away. I always longed to see her, I miss her loving ways. They say she's gone to heaven, way up above. So I climbed up all these mountains, looking for her love. And I went high up on the mountain to see the promised land. Walking high up on the mountain, they call me the Roman man. I was born near Mount Vermont, and 8 years I reached the top. These mountains were my teachers, they sure taught me a lot. Now tourist scouts and hikers ask for my advice. I've met so many people, they all were so nice. From residents to poets, well, I've got them through the woods. I'm so proud of our mountains, I tell the world if I could. We'll go high on the mountain to see the promised land. Walking high on the mountain, they call me the Golden Man. When life is filled with trouble, and your heart's weighed down with care, come and climb the mountain, your mind will soon be clear. When you climb on top of the mountain and feel a gentle breeze, you'll know my spirit's with you in those hills of Tennessee. My name is Wiley Oakley, and I live in these hills. I love these smoky mountains, I know I always will. So let's go high up on the mountain to see the promised land. Walking high from the mountain, they called me the Roman man.
Back in the early 20th century, the early 1900s, there was an English musicologist that came into this country, actually into Tennessee and western North Carolina and southwestern Virginia. And he had heard that there were old English ballads and folk songs that were still being sung by people that had really long ago kind of died out in England, but kind of due to the isolation of the mountains that the people were singing them. They've been handed down through generations, and they were singing them pretty much the same way that they were when they were first brought over from England, Ireland, Scotland. And so he went out and started collecting these tunes, and ended up collecting nearly 500 of these things, you know, very close to the way they were originally sung back in England. And this next one Lon's going to sing is called Pretty Sarah, and it was the name of that the musicologist, his name was Cecil Sharp, and this is one of the tunes that he collected and kind of brought forward.
Yeah, cool. Also, I want to take a moment and recognize our musical companion here, Michael. Several of these songs he hadn't had a chance to even play. That last one, he had never played on, and yet, I mean, we said, okay, if this is the key, and he just jumped right in and Michael's also recovering from surgery not too long ago, so he's a real trooper to come out and play tonight, and then to tackle some songs he's never even heard before. But since we've got to know Michael, that's kind of his nature. You can just throw anything at him, and boom, he'll just play it and do good. Just
Whether
wondering.
you like it or not.
Yeah. So anyway, we just want to point that out. So,
Thank you.
very good. So Pretty Sarah. Oh, I came to this country in 1849. I saw many lovers, but I never saw mine. I looked all around me and saw eyes alone, and me a poor sailor, and far from my home. Oh, it's not this long journey I'm ready to go. Nor even this country for the debts that I owe. There's one thing that greets me and troubles my mind. It's a leaving Pretty Sarah, my darling, behind. Oh, I wish I was was a poet and could write a fine man. I could write my love a letter that she'd understand. I could write it by the waters where the islands overflow, and leave the pretty Sarah wherever I go. Oh, farewell, my dear father, and my poor mother too. I can go into ramble, there's country all through. And when I get tired, I'll sit down and cry, and leave the pretty Sarah with tears in my eyes. Sorry about my voice there. We were up at Tremont today, hiking up there, me and my wife and a bunch of her family. And I think I swallowed one of those synchronized fireflies. Or it's all ticklish and like it's moving around. I don't know.
I saw something.
Yeah, well, he trick with it.
Little Revy, I'll give it a try here. Got 3 times. Little Revy. Y'all count how many parts was in that song?
It was five, right?
Five
parts in that.
They're just two parts.
Yeah, it's pretty easy, but 5 parts. And I keep telling John, that's kind of like the zen of fiddle tunes right there. Well, there's 5 parts, I never can keep up with all of them. He plays all of them. So one day, I'll reach that zen of fiddle tunes and be able to play that with John.
He does fine on guitar, he works on it.
I love that too.
Well, we better pick and choose. Here, what's that?
Yeah.
What speaks to you? Okay. Well, that's it, we got.
Oh, we're getting
Yeah.
right. I'd love to hear the cello.
Yeah, that's good.
This is a beautiful waltz, and we've got to have this, we got to play this.
Now, you're gonna do it on film.
I'm gonna
I'll show you on this. All right, yeah, this is a beautiful, like Lon said, waltz, by the name of Midnight on the Water. And there's a story about it, but I've forgotten. Next year. But, well, I guess I could make something out of it.
Someone wants to watch on a boat.
Maybe we should put Midnight on the Water with Home with Girls.
Those tones are just so pretty for this.
Cute for a second. Well, first. I'll work on it, I promise. I won't let you guys down again. But I hit the right notes, yes. I agree.
That's right.
So you like that fiddle? So we got let's do Foggy Mountain Top.
Okay. That's good.
Yep.
That's really-
Yeah, I don't like to get back in the saddle. We might go just a minute or two over. We won't keep you too
One of the groups that have had a tremendous impact on American music is the Carter family. And, you know, originally it was A.P. Carter, Sarah Carter, and Maybelle Carter was the original Carter family. And they were discovered up in Bristol, I think the same day that Jimmy Rogers was discovered. And after they were discovered, they was in a contract where they would get paid per song. And so it motivated A.P. Carter to go out and find as many folk songs out in the countryside as he could. And as a result of that, he just went out throughout, the whole area and I mean, a long ways away, just meeting with people and trying to find any, folk songs that he could. And he literally found, I don't know, do you think there maybe be hundreds or, probably hundreds of them, and then record them. And fortunately for us, that was a hard contract, I guess, for them. They had to work really hard for his money, but great for us because we have all those songs preserved and recorded. And many of them have turned into, just staples of country music, bluegrass, and other forms of music as well. So anyway, I love listening to the original recordings of the Carter family, and it's so beautiful and so simple, and just you can hear the country, in them, and again, just historic too to hear these tunes. That being said, I want to do one of the songs that they found and recorded called Foggy Mountain Top. Well, if I was on some foggy mountain top, I would sail away to the west. I would sail all around this old wide world, 'cause the girl I love the best. You're ready, hey, you're ready. You're ready, hey, ready, oh, you're ready. You're ready, hey, ready, oh. You're ready, hey, oh. You're ready, hey, you're well, I listen what my mama said. I would not be here today. Oh, I am around this hotel house, away from my good life. You're ready, hey, you're ready. You're ready, hey, ready, oh, you're ready. You're ready, ready, oh. You're ready, oh, you're ready, hey, you're ready. Well, she calls me home. She calls me right on. Oh, home sometimes, go through those times. I'm on my long way home. You're ready, hey, you're ready. You're ready, hey, ready, oh, you're ready. You're ready, hey, ready, oh. You're ready, hey, ready, oh. You're ready, hey,
family, they were. Like Lon was saying, is AP and Sarah were married, and then Maybelle was Sarah's cousin. So kind of bound up that way. And I guess AP and Sarah finally ended up getting divorced. I think AP was kind of difficult person, kind of emotionally cold, I think. And so they eventually got divorced, and they worked really hard to kind of keep it under wraps and not let it disrupt things commercially, you know. But Sarah ended up marrying one of AP's younger cousins. So you can kind of imagine what the Thanksgiving dinner would be. All right, so let's see.
Well, we're picking up maybe the last or next to last maybe here. I was giving my wife a hard time for being late, and I wanted to say I'm just kidding. She was with family, and I really appreciate her coming on in spite of the fact that she was with them and had to rush over here. But a lot of people ask me on that song, and it's like, well, how do you learn to yodel? You know, and that's a common question I get. And you know, when I wanted to learn, there was nothing out there, even on YouTube. You go and look, and there's nothing that says, this is how you yodel. And, you know, yeah, I know, nothing like that, you know. And so I had to just experiment with my voice a lot. So I'd go in the shower, and I would just kind of experiment. And my poor wife, you know, she had to hear all of this. So I want to recognize her for her suffering through all of that. If it wasn't for her patience, I never would have learned. So anyway.
Well, why don't we do that? I'd love to hear Back in the Saddle.
Okay.
A little cowboy tune. Lon does a real good job on it, and then we can.
Yeah, it wouldn't be appropriate not to have at least one Western song, right? I mean, that's a great part of the, you know, American repertoire of folk music. So this is one that Gene Autry made famous, called Back in the Saddle. I'm back in the saddle again. Out where a friend is a friend. Where the lonesome cattle feed on the lonely gypsy field. I'm back in the saddle again. Riding the rainbow's home. Toting my old 44. Where you sleep out at midnight and the young belong is right. Back in the saddle again. When we tie out yellow, rocking to and fro. Back in the saddle again. When we tie out yellow, don't mind away. Back in the saddle again. Back in the saddle again. Out where a friend is a friend. Where the lonesome cattle feed on the lonely gypsy field. I'm back in the saddle again. Riding the range once more. Oh, my old 44. Where you sleep out at midnight and the only long is right. Back in the saddle again. We'll be tied out, you're rocking to and fro. back in the saddle again. We'll be tied, yeah, and put my way back in the saddle again. I'm back in the saddle again.
All righty, we're going to end the show tonight with a tune you're probably familiar with. It was part of the soundtrack to Ken Burns' Civil War documentary called The Shokin Farewell. And people, well, your dad was bad about it, saying this was a Civil War song, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's one of the mentioned. Oh, no, no, it's an old Civil War song.
I mean, it certainly sounded like that, but it was written by a man, Jay Unger, a great fiddle player, and he did a fiddle camp up in a place called the Shokin, New York, and this was a tune that he composed that everybody would get together and play at the end of the camp. So that's the truth. Don't let them tell you it's an old Civil War song. It's not. All right. So, 2 times.
On behalf of the Friends of Seymour Library, we want to thank Michael, John, and Lon for this beautiful evening of music. For those of you who've been coming for many years, you may know that when the Friends of the Library started this summer music program, John and his partners at the time were the first ones who signed up to perform. And they've been with us every year, and we can't remember how many years, 10, 12, but it has been wonderful. And the group has changed, but it's only gotten better. So maybe we could coax one more song out of here.
Go out. we'll end up with a couple of fast visits. Get everybody home, nobody will fall asleep between. Yeah. And they- Thank you. So what is the next one anyway?
Oh,
It's,
I have it on my calendar.
it's the Friday before, the quilt show, which is the 20th,
16.
the 16th. Our next music program this summer will be Grandview Thompson Matches. Many of you heard them last year, and we're bringing them back because they were so popular. It's Friday, August 16th.
They're very good. Yeah, recommend you come out and visit.
Yeah.
Great.